What if the greatest oil power of the modern world was not Saudi Arabia, but Venezuela? What if the energy map of the planet tilted westward, not toward Washington, but toward Caracas, shattering American dominance and rewriting global power forever? From a historian's lens, Venezuela was never a failed state waiting to collapse. It was a crossroads of possibility. Sitting atop the world's largest proven oil reserves, its fate was never about resources, but about choices. In this alternate timeline, those choices unfold very differently, transforming Venezuela from a cautionary tale into the defining superpower of the global South. When Hugo Chávez comes to power in 1999, he still carries a revolutionary vision, but he avoids his most damaging impulse: the politicization of competence. Instead of purging PDVSA's technocrats, he keeps them. Oil production does not collapse, it expands. Chávez resists the temptation to treat oil as a short-term populist tool. Rather than unsustainable subsidies, revenues are channeled into infrastructure, education, and a massive sovereign wealth fund. Communism in this Venezuela evolves pragmatically, not as doctrinal rigidity, but as resource nationalism paired with market discipline. Crucially, Chávez avoids international isolation. He tones down anti-American rhetoric while quietly reducing dependence on the U.S. market. Long-term energy agreements are signed with China and India, exchanging oil for infrastructure, technology, and guaranteed demand. Unlike in real history, Venezuela never triggers runaway inflation because currency controls are phased, not absolute. Corruption exists, but it is managed, not weaponized. When Nicolás Maduro succeeds Chávez, he avoids the second fatal mistake of the real timeline: denial. Instead of doubling down on failed price controls and repression, Maduro governs as a technocratic custodian of an energy empire. Populist excess is curbed. Elections remain managed, but credible enough to preserve stability. Venezuela becomes authoritarian, but functional. The regional consequences are seismic. Venezuela leads a Latin American energy and trade bloc, binding Brazil, Argentina, Bolivia, and Ecuador into a coordinated economic system. Oil-backed regional trade reduces dependence on the dollar. The Monroe Doctrine collapses not through confrontation, but irrelevance. Washington's sanctions lose bite because Venezuela is too embedded to isolate. Saudi Arabia faces its first true rival outside the Gulf. Unlike Riyadh, Venezuela couples energy power with ideological leadership, promoting a Latin American model of post-colonial sovereignty. OPEC fractures into competing blocs. Oil pricing becomes multipolar, destabilizing American financial leverage. The geopolitical alignment deepens with Iran, which shares technology, sanctions avoidance strategies, and military cooperation. Russia provides defense systems and strategic backing, while China and India anchor demand. Venezuela becomes the western pillar of an anti-hegemonic axis, stretching from Tehran to Beijing. Communism's role is central, but transformed. This is not Soviet-style command collapse, but energy socialism, state ownership of strategic assets combined with control markets. By the 2010s, Venezuela's influence reshapes global institutions. Latin America votes as a bloc at the United Nations. IMF conditionalities weaken. The dollar's supremacy erodes as energy-backed trade agreements proliferate. American hegemony does not collapse in a single moment. It bleeds out slowly, undermined by an oil superpower it once dismissed as unstable. Yet this alternate Venezuela is not utopian. Power concentrates, dissent narrows. A new elite forms around energy wealth. The state is strong, but society is tightly managed. The price of independence is control. Venezuela also recognizes early that oil is power only if it funds the future. By the late 2000s, Caracas channels surplus petroleum revenue into large-scale green technology programs, positioning itself as a global leader in energy transition rather than a relic of fossil fuel dependence. Leveraging its vast solar potential, wind corridors along the Caribbean coast, and hydroelectric expertise from the Orinoco Basin, Venezuela builds a diversified renewable grid. Partnerships with China and Russia accelerate battery storage, green hydrogen, and smart grid technologies. Oil finances innovation, allowing Venezuela to dominate not just energy supply, but energy transformation. By the early 2020s, the world is unmistakably different. Energy flows define power. Washington reacts instead of commands. And Venezuela stands alongside Saudi Arabia as a pillar of global energy and geopolitical influence. The question history never answered is this: if Venezuela had chosen strategy over spectacle, would the American century have ended decades earlier? Put your thoughts in the comment section.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe.